Hi, this is Trinesha and today I wanted to talk about healthy relationships. So I know you're probably thinking, what is making her want to talk about healthy relationships? And isn't she single? Okay, so now that you got that out the way and you already got on me, this is not what I'm talking about. I mean, I may mention something about it later on, depending on, how this video goes. But when I speak about healthy relationships, I'm talking about healthy in general. I was reading a book earlier, and I know it's a book called Self Love for Black Women. I know not everyone is going to read it and things like that, but I also believe that there are some books that are applicable not only to just one genre or one race or religion or whatever else. I really truly believe that when it comes to self improvement, it's something that everyone can do, not just one person or another, not just a male or female or whatever else. I really truly believe that when it comes to setting boundaries in your life, when it comes to being a better version of yourself, that's something that every single person can do across the board. And so when I speak on healthy relationships, what I'm really talking about is healthy relationships as a whole. I mean, friends, it could be people that you work with, people that you come in contact with, that you're building a relationship with. It could be in a romantic way. That's what I mean by healthy relationships. And so I'm going to try to pull this thing up and not be long winded or anything else, but I have a couple things that are in here that really stood out to me today. I had bookmarked the one. It said, I'm just going to read this one passage. I'm probably not going to read the whole thing, but it says something about setting boundaries. And it said, for many, we view boundaries as negative. It said, what we don't want. Instead, focus on what you are communicating. What do you want? And as I read this earlier, it's a whole passage, it goes through different stories, it goes through different scenarios. It allows you to kind of elaborate on your thoughts to be able to try to just grow and really think about what setting boundaries or having standards or, improving in one area or another, what that really consists of. And so as I sit there and I pondered on my thoughts, I started thinking about how how what I truly want is a healthy relationship. I know I say that all the time, and it's usually geared towards like a romantic relationship or whatever else. And that may be true for the most part. For most people, that's probably where your mind goes first. Like the first thing you think about is, oh, I want to be in a healthy relationship. And you think of it in a romantic way. You don't just think of it as a whole. You don't just think of it like when it comes to all of the people in your life. And so I wrote a little note to myself earlier because I really when when I get intentional about my life, when it's something that I really truly desire to have or something that I really truly want for myself, then I really get into it. Like I put forth a real effort. Like I might read this book, then I might take notes. I might research some other things. I might, when I'm talking to my counselor or whatever else, I may elaborate on it and think, and we'll come up with a solution on how I can set healthier boundaries or how I can strive for a healthy relationship. And so what I wrote down was it might not make sense because I'm one of those people who overanalyzes and I think a lot. So when I'm thinking and writing, sometimes I just skim right on past some of the stuff that I meant to say because I thought I already wrote it, but really I didn't. I just was thinking so fast and I couldn't, my hand or my like typing could not catch up with what it was that I was thinking. And so I was like, and I put this in my notes section. Like, this is how I am with my notebook. I got a notebook right here because I literally just like writing. And so I always have to have a notebook or something that I can take notes in on hand at all times because these thoughts, they just, and then it's like, oh, snap, like that was pretty good. But no, I don't think this is going to be pretty good, but it may help somebody, especially since it helped me earlier. It really helped me look at my life and like kind of take it into perspective and seeing the things that I wanted to do. And I'm trying to get this shirt. There we go. Okay. That part's going to be loud because I spoke directly into the mic. But okay, so when I thought about what it was that I want, I said I want healthy relationships. I'm going to read this. Hopefully, it doesn't bore too many people, but I do hope that for the right person who really needs this, they do hear it and it's beneficial for their life. So I said, not just romantically, but all the way around. I want healthy friends and family members surrounding me. I think that is so important because when you're building your life, we do always think of being healthy. Like once we get healthy, we think of being in a healthy relationship with a person, like in a romantic way. We usually don't think about our friends and our family members at all. But it like hit me like it hit me like a ton of bricks. I didn't want to say that out loud because I don't want to speak that into existence. So, let's negate that. But but it just the idea just auto populated into my mind and it just became one of those things that was like it penetrated my mind. And so so the next thing I wrote was I want healthy friends and family members surrounding me. In order to do that, I need to get serious about what I don't want and set proper boundaries. I know I kind of touched on this before a while back, but it is really important for us to not only know what we do want, but what we don't want as well. And that's not just romantically, that's in a friendship, that is in a job, that is in an or a career. That's in every area of your life. What don't you want to be near you? What do you want to get as far away from you as possible? Because sometimes we will hold on to people because of a length of time, or we will hold on to people because we are related to them or whatever else. And that's not necessarily the best thing for you, especially if it's not helping you, especially if it's not something that's healthy. If it's something that is hindering you, if it's something that's holding you back, if it's something that is bringing the worst out of you, it's probably not good for your life. So you have to be real with yourself and see, is this something that is really helping me move forward? Is it pushing me into a better purpose? I mean, is it helping me with my purpose? Is it pushing me to be a better person? Or is this holding me back and making me be the same person that I used to be? Am I constantly stagnant because of who I hang around? And so I said, just like a relationship, we cannot be healthy if one of them are toxic. So what I mean by that is what I just said. If you're in a relationship and you're healthy and you're with your partner is a toxic person, the relationship is going to be toxic because even though one of you is healthy, the whole relationship is going to be tainted by the toxicity. And that's how it is with friendships. That's how it is with jobs, everything. Even if you're a good person, if it's a toxic work environment, the work environment is not going to be healthy just because you're a healthy person. And just like with friends or family members, if just because you're healthy doesn't mean that your friends or family members are going to be healthy. But hopefully, you would be around people who would be wanting better for you and you want better for yourself. And so I said, I need to surround myself with people who want better and have my best interests at heart. That is so important because some people want you to do better as long as you're not doing better than them. Some people want you to do okay. They don't really want you to be better. Some people like you being at lack of something or not being your best or being broken, because as long as you're broken, they can take advantage of you. As long as you're broken, you will always need them. But what some people fail to realize is if they are a person who's important to your life and you both are adding value to one another, it doesn't matter if you are hurting or whole, you will still have that person in your life. That doesn't change anything except for the conversation. That does not change who you are at your core. You can change into a better person, but you will still be the person that they knew in the beginning. You will just be trying to become a better person, if that makes any sense. And so I said, you are the sum of who you surround yourself with. I did not make that up. That's something that some really smart person said. And not saying that I'm not smart. I'm just saying that this came from someone else. And it's so true. Because if you surround yourself with a bunch of people who don't want anything better for their life, you're not, even though you have aspirations and dreams, you're not going to pursue those dreams because you're going to feel like this is as good as it gets. If you want to be in a healthy relationship and all your friends are in toxic relationships, it's going to be really hard for you to see yourself in a healthy relationship if that's all you're around. If the only people you talk to try to gain relationship advice is people who haven't been married or people who don't know anything about marriage, or they've been through several different marriages or something, and nothing's wrong with making a mistake when you're younger, or you know you choose because it's something you want and not what God wants, and then the next time it's what God wants. That's usually how it happens, because when you're younger, you really do think you know everything, or you just kind of go with it. You don't really just take a second and realize that this isn't good for you. And you really, really do want it to work out, but it's never going to work if God's not in the center of it, especially if you love God. And so you really have to be cautious of who you surround yourself with, because and when you think about it like that, and you think about your friends and you're like, all of your friends are, they're always broke. And when I say broke, I don't mean broken that way. I mean like broken hearted, broken dreams, broken financially. And then you want to be prosperous. It's going to be real hard for you to be prosperous if everyone around you is broke, you know, or broken. So you have to really make sure that you're surrounding most of the people that you have in your life are what you aspire to have and not what you have, or what you lacked in the past, or what you had previously. You want to make sure you're propelling forward. You want to make sure that you're going towards something that is better, not just staying stagnant because you're surrounding yourself with people who don't have the intention of growing or changing into a better version of themselves. And so I just put who is in your crowd, because that really does matter. Like I said, who you surround yourself with is most of the people that you surround yourself with. You'll notice, even if you are a person who's mostly happy or you're in a good mood, then you'll be like, oh man, this sucks so much. And it's like, your life is good. You're talking about it sucks because everybody else's life sucks around you. Like, don't be putting that on your life. Like, you got too much stuff going for you to be thinking like that. You really got to be grateful for the things that you have and thankful. And if you want to be grateful and thankful and everybody around you is being negative all the time, it's going to be really hard to have a bright outlook on things, or have a good perspective. It's going to really make you start to doubt things, and doubting leads to sadness, which leads to being unthankful instead of being grateful and thankful for all of the blessings that you have. And so, and then I put, if you have temptation or struggles with something, you do as a group distance yourself. Like I was talking about in the last video. Whenever a temptation comes, you really do have to distance yourself. Even if all of your friends do the thing that you feel like you don't want to do anymore. And it might be hard because of amount of time that you guys have known each other. But if it's for your benefit, if this is something that will benefit you, that will help you, then you should do something that is going to benefit you. You should do something that's going to be beneficial to your life, and not just do whatever, you know? And so, the cardigan thing seemed like a good idea, and now I'm just like, I don't know. It's one of those things, and I almost took it off, and then I said, no, I'm not gonna take this thing off. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna go with this. This is gonna be the thing today. So that's what happened. Okay, you deserve the life that God has for you. You really do. And you can't have it if you're looking down. You can't have it if you're always doubting yourself, if you're always negative. God will never be able to bless you with more if you're not already grateful for what you have. He just can't. You know how proud it makes you when your kids say all the things they're thankful for? That makes you want to give them more. When you are appreciative of the things that you have in your life, and you're taking care of it, and you're a good steward of those things, it really allows for God to bless you with more. I put, you deserve the life God has for you, a life of joy unspeakable. And you can't look up to God if you're always looking down. That's so true. Looking down on your life, down on your circumstances or your situation. You have to get intentional on life, because this is your life, and it can be whatever it is through your eyes, and talk of positivity. this is just something that I wrote earlier because I really get into it sometimes when I'm doing things like that. It just really makes my mind just go, okay, these are the things that I really desire to have. This is what really stood out to me is what I want is a healthy relationship. I want a healthy relationship when it comes to friends. I want a healthy work environment. I want a healthy romantic relationship. I don't want anything toxic in my orbit, anything toxic in my life at all. If someone calls me and they just want to talk about a whole bunch of people, I don't want that in my life. I want to be the person who speaks life into people, not drags people down or makes people feel badly for being who they are or dealing with a struggle in their life. I don't want to be that type of person. I want to be the type of person who listens to people, the type of person who understands that not every person is going to be perfect and people are going to have flaws because we are human. Like, if God wanted us to be God, we would be God. But we are human beings that make mistakes, that mess up all the time, because we have to learn from those mistakes so we can evolve and grow. And God can use our past for a better future, for our purpose. And I'm not saying that the life that we chose to have is the life God always intended for us, because I truly believe that we are the ones that decide to do the wrong things in life. And God can take that and use it for his benefit. But what God had for us from the beginning was way better than anything we could have imagined. But we chose to go a different route because we wanted to feed our flesh, because we wanted to feed into our desires or have the things that we knew we shouldn't have had or be with the people that we think that we should have never been with in the first place. And I'm not saying that blessings can't come from those things. I'm just saying that you really you really have to look toward God. You really do have to think, okay, if I want a healthy relationship, what does that mean? That means that I'm going to have to be intentional with my friends. I'm going to have to be intentional with the type of people I surround myself with. I'm going to have to be intentional about the type of job I select. I can't just work a job because of the money. I have to work it because it's feeding my soul. And I'm not saying that you should leave your job, not unless God absolutely 100% told you and you know it's God. Don't just leave because of this video, because you're tired of your job and you still got to work another job. Because if you leave that job, there's no guarantee that the next boss won't be as bad as the last boss. And I'm not saying you should stay somewhere where you're being disrespected or treated unfairly. I think there are levels to it and there are things that you can do about it, and you don't have to ever be treated that way. And when you're living your life, I know for me, I don't want to live a miserable life. I don't want to just put up with something just because. I want to make sure that every person treats me with dignity and respect. I'm not saying I gotta, like, people have to, like, worship me or, like, do the most. I just expect to be treated with respect from every person in my life. Just like I would want to respect all of the people that are a part of my life. If they're a friend, a family member, if they're a potential person, I want to show them the respect that I want to have. I don't want to just be rude or cruel or mean or disrespectful. Like, there's really no need for that. That's really uncalled for, you know. And so when I think about having a healthy relationship, I really truly think about being intentional. And I don't know why that word is so important this year and in the past 2 months, but God has been saying just get intentional over and over again. Be intentional. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing all of these things. And he's like, no, it's not about doing all those things. It's about being obedient and serving and listening to what it is that I truly have to say. Like, you might hear my voice, but are you listening to it? You might you might know that these are the things that are part of your purpose, but you still have to be obedient. You have to be willing to listen to me so that I can give you instruction for what to do next. You might desire certain things in life, but don't just run off doing your own thing. Like, you need to wait for my instruction. You can't just dive into something just because you want it. You really have to make sure you have my approval on it. You have really, especially if you want to do things my way. If you really want to be in your purpose, if you really want to help people, it's not you being selfish. It's not you being arrogant or only thinking about yourself, trying to be conceited. It's about you staying humble, listening, being obedient, serving, and focusing on me. And I think it's so important for us to do that. It's important for us to get intentional with our lives because it's not a game. The pastor was preaching on Sunday, and I didn't read this in the video, and I don't know how it's escaped my mind, but he said that life is not a playground, it's a battleground. And oof, if I had a mic, I would have dropped the mic right there because that was straight bars. But but seriously, I was just like, "Oh my gosh, like wow, like it's so true." I always talk about how my life is not a game. It's really not a game. You need to be preparing for war every single day. It doesn't matter how good somebody looks, it doesn't matter how good the position looks or how good the thing is or how badly you want it. You really have to put on your whole armor every single day. Every day you got to be ready for this war. Every day you got to be ready for these people to try you. And when I say that, I don't mean it in like an unchristian kind of way or like a, oh, I'm ready, everybody's going to get some. I'm not saying it like that at all. I don't want none of that. I just want a life of peace, okay? So I'm just saying, like, you really, like, you don't know what the enemy is going to throw at you. You don't know what tests they're going to get to try to test your patience, to try to show that you are a better person, to try to prove that you are a better person. And you can't prove that if you're being nasty to somebody. You can't prove that if every time someone says something to you, you feel like you have to react or go back and forth with the fool, like in Proverbs. Like, you can't do that. You have to make sure that you are like Christ in every area of your life. Will you fall short? Absolutely. Will you make mistakes? Absolutely. Are you going to try in spite of that? Absolutely. So you can't give up just because you know that it's going to be hard, just because you know that you will have failures, just because you know you will make mistakes. You have to continue to be intentional with your life and put on your full armor and pick up your cross every single day. It's not a game. Like, people are out here and they say, oh, yeah, we got to play all of these games to try to, use someone or do all of these things. And I'm not saying that, you shouldn't prepare yourself because a lot of people do play games. I'm just saying that life is not a game. While you're like trying to use someone for something, you don't know where that person's mental state is, women. While you're out there using this guy for his money or whatever else it is that you think you can get out of him because you've been hurt so badly in the past, you hurting or treating somebody like that is not helping you at all. It's really making you look bad. And I know I'm saying that, and some women probably will never watch this again, and that's fine because I'm here for God. I'm not here for likes. And seriously, though, like, what do you think is going to benefit your life for you doing something like that to another person, another child of God? Nothing. You might have been hurt and you might have been used, but you using somebody else is making you as badly as that person was that did that to you. It will feel momentarily good. You might feel like, oh, I'm on cloud nine. Oh, I'm the ish. All of this other stuff that you're telling yourself to boost your head up because you felt so badly about yourself when you were used, when you were abused. Da, da, da. I had to do it like that because that's one of those words. And when when I say that, I don't mean it like in that way. I'm just like rhyming the two words together. So hopefully it won't flag too badly, but it might, and this video might not go up now because of that, or it might have a ding on it because of that. Just because you were used and mistreated, just because you were, you know, whatever else, does not mean that's what you should do to another person. I know it hurt so, so, so badly. I know you just can't imagine ever letting somebody ever play you like that ever again. So you got to get ahead of it. You got to at least prepare so that you don't ever get into a situation like that ever again. You never want to be vulnerable ever again. But if you're not vulnerable, you will never find real love. You'll never be in a real healthy relationship. If you're constantly trying to use somebody and constantly trying to make somebody feel as badly as you did, you will never be in a position to be with someone who will truly care about you. The person will be with you because maybe you look good. Maybe they'll be with you because, you're a trophy person. Maybe they'll be with you because, you just, whatever other reason, but it might not be the right reason. Do you want somebody to be with you for the right reason and to have real love that God intended you to have? Or do you just want to be with somebody just to have a man and a warm body, and you just want to feel like you got all the power? Because that's not a real relationship. That's that's just that's a business deal. And for men, I don't know if I can talk to men like this. Men probably don't listen to me anyways, but it's cool. Like, I'm just gonna say it. Like, do you really truly want something better in your life? Or do you just want to settle for what someone else wants? Do you really want I had a plan and a point, but I just feel like somebody's already offended, and I really don't want this to be like an attack on people. I really want this to be a we are all taking responsibility for ourselves, because we really play way too many games, and then you end up on the news because they thought that it was that funny. They thought that it looked cool in front of their friends. It looked cool when you were using these people or breadcrumbing them or gaslighting them or whatever other colloquialisms that people use nowadays to try to like make it seem like a coined cool term. But, you know, like, really truly think about the type of person that you really want to be. Is that how you want your daughter to be treated? How your son? Is this person that you're with? This is something that TG said, and I think Dave Ramsey said it one time. I don't know. I don't know if it was him or if it was Dr. I mean, what was his name? Deloney. I don't know if it was one of those three people that said it, but I know for sure that TG Jr. said it before Tony. And then the other one, I want to say it was Dave Ramsey, but I'm not sure because it was either him or Deloney. I don't know which one. John Deloney. Okay, so Tony Gaskins. And so I only did that because I said the other people's names, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm not trying to say his name. I just don't like that with the algorithm that they link those things to your videos. And I don't want this video to be wherever it goes because of a name that was mentioned. I'm only saying it to give them their flowers, not because I want to use it for a benefit, you know? And so what they said was one of them, and I'm probably going to mix up both of them, but one of them said something like, is this the type of guy, like for women, is this the type of guy that you would want your son to be exactly like? If the answer is no, don't be with him. That plain and simple. Like, that's easy peasy. You know how easy it is to remember that? It's not like you got to remember all these technical terms, or you got to try to go through a list to try to figure out which things are the right thing or not the right thing. When you really think of that in your mind, is this guy the type of guy that you would want your son to be? If the answer is no, then don't even think about don't even think about it, you know? And for guys, is this the type of woman that you would want your daughter to be? Would you want your daughter to dress like this, to talk like this, to act like this? And I'm not saying anything's wrong with, however you dress. I'm just saying that you really have to put it in your mind. Like, if I have a child with this person, my child is going to have characteristic traits of this person. Is that something you're okay with for the rest of your life or for the next 18 years? If the answer is no, probably don't date her. Probably don't even, just let it go. And then the other thing was, I think it was Dave Ramsey that said it. I really do think it was him because I don't know why. I just feel like, no, it might have been John Deloney because he was doing like one of his things where he talks to different people and they have like a situation and, something else is happening. But I used to listen to that all the time because he would talk about it from like a psychology perspective. And I used to love psychology stuff and I like to overanalyze things. So it would just make me think, more, and I would go in depth with my thoughts and stuff like that. So anyways, so what he said was, I don't know if he would have gave it a description like this, but he might have. Okay, so one of the two, Dave Ramsey or John Deloney, said said that this girl was talking about how she was with this guy and she was going through and talking about the situation. And they said, if you were talking to your daughter, would you tell her to stay with this guy and why? They're very similar solutions, but it gets you to think at it from another perspective. One is saying, okay, if you're a woman and you're dating this guy, is this how you would want your son to be? Okay. I wouldn't want my son to do any of those things. So obviously I can't ever be with this person. No. But seriously, that's how it'll make you think when you think of it like for real. Because we try to make it seem like when you make these decisions in life, it's just the easy decision and nobody's ever affected by it. Like, oh, it's just a game that we're playing to just get a whole bunch of women or get a whole bunch of guys to do whatever we want. But in the end, you're not winning. Like you might be able to lie to yourself and feel like you are, but it's not helping you emotionally or psychologically or feeding your soul. It's taking away from your soul and you don't even realize it. And so when he said that, when he was like, what would you tell your daughter to do if she was in this situation? That will make a lot of women think as well. Because sometimes we're thinking, oh, yeah, I'm just going to try to compromise, but really you're settling for this, this, and this. And if your daughter was in the same situation and you truly love your daughter, you would never tell her to put up with half of those things that you put up with in that relationship. You just wouldn't. So why is it okay for you to settle for that and you're an example for your child, but you expect her to do something totally different than what you're showing her? And most children learn by you showing them things. So if you're sitting here settling for this relationship, she's going to think it's okay to settle for this relationship. If you let someone talk to you this way, then she's going to think it's okay for somebody to talk to her this way. If you are the one doing everything and you're constantly exhausted, she's going to feel like a relationship is her pouring into somebody else and never getting anything back. You really have to think of these things when you are thinking about making these decisions in your life. You can't just do something because it'll satisfy you temporarily. Being with this person, having a warm body, talking to somebody who's of the opposite sex or whatever else. Like, you really have to think about what it is that you really want in your life and be intentional about it. Every second you spend talking to these people that you really don't want to be with or wasting time, it's literally a waste of time. You could literally have met the one and you wasted it on the other one. You literally did. You wasted on the other guys instead of the guy. You know, that guy. The one. I don't know how people say it. That I'm gonna have to like think about that later, but but you're wasting it on the other guys instead of that guy. You know. And for guys, the same thing. While you spend all this time putting all of this time and attention into this person who doesn't deserve anything from you. They don't deserve your mind, your body, or your soul. But because she looks bad, because some of the other guys are talking about her, I don't know what you guys do at all. But whatever makes you guys make decisions to choose someone, whatever. But when when you are not taking it serious, while you're doing all of that, the woman that is for you is passing you by because she doesn't look like a woman that is super thirsty for you. She doesn't look like or talk like a woman who would use you. She doesn't dress like the woman who, and I'm not saying it's like a certain dress code for women that do things like that. I'm just saying it's not going to be something that you would get from that same type of person. The person that you're looking for and the person that you're settling for is not the same person. You are with the Miss Right now, missing out on Mrs. Right. I couldn't think of an equivalent for the girl guy one. So that's the first thing that popped into my head. So it is what it is. But seriously, why are we wasting our time? We really don't know how much time we got on this earth. Do you really want to waste it with somebody who really doesn't deserve your time? Do you really want to be with somebody who you would never want your child to be like or to be with? If the answer is no, then stop wasting your time and be intentional. Like, It's really that easy. It's that easy in a thought. And then when you like start to be intentional about your life, it will become a little bit easier because you won't keep settling for these type of people. My prayer that I say every once in a while for people who are single or whatever else is I just pray that they don't get desperate and that they wait on God, because it's so easy to just choose someone just to have someone that's not the one than it is to wait for the one that God has for you. And when I say one, we all know it's not just one person. It's several people out here floating around that could be the one. Several chosen few. It's a chosen few, not several. Let's scratch out several. It's a chosen few out here that God has designed just for you. And I say chosen few because not everybody, all them several millions, billions of women or men is not all the one. Then the same for men. It's the chosen few. You might miss out on the first one because you decided to be with a person who wasn't right for you. You might miss out on the second one if you're still playing games and you don't know what you want to do in life and you just feel like, well, I'm still young. Let me just go out here and just do what I want to do. Or, I really want this, but I don't want to work for it. While you're doing that, you are spending more time passing up the thing that is for you than you would if you were actually intentional with the thing that you should be with, you know? And so you have to think about what's more important to you. Is it important for you to waste a bunch of time on a whole bunch of people who are never going to appreciate you? Or is it better to put an effort into one person who really does appreciate you? I say that, and I feel like people already clicked off the video. Oh my gosh. All right. I'm not going to let this video go any longer because I got to work out and everything. I don't have that much time. Oh my gosh. It's like the day just got away from me. Oh my goodness. Okay. So, in conclusion, we really do need to be intentional about our lives from this day forward. You might have messed up in the past. You might have messed up a minute ago. That was a minute ago. It's in the past now. But it's really time to be intentional. It's time for you to really, really think about what a healthy relationship is all the way around: friendship, work, romantically. What does that look like? Even if I had this thought in my head earlier too, but I did not write it in my notes for some reason. I don't know why. But even if you and your partner are healthy, if you're surrounding yourself, like your friends and family are all toxic people who are only thinking negative things or are all toxic, even if you two are in a healthy relationship, your relationship is going to be it's going to be really hard to keep it healthy if you're surrounding yourself with a whole bunch of toxic people. Because even though they may say they want you to be happy, if they're always constantly picking apart the relationship, if they're constantly always saying something negative about the person that they're with, then it's going to make you not appreciate the person that you are with. And it's going to make your relationship toxic because of who you're surrounding yourself with. So it's not only important for you and your spouse to be, and I'm not a relationship expert, I'm just saying in a relationship in general, relationship, spouse, whatever it is. I can't talk about marriage because I don't know, anything about healthy relationships at all. So when I say this is just a general statement. It's not like I'm an expert kind of thing. And so, so when you and your partner, your your spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, are in this relationship, really think about who you're surrounding yourself with. Make sure that you guys have a strong foundation so that you're not allowing other people's insight to come in to the middle of your relationship. Nobody should really have anything to say about your relationship in the first place. Now, if you're first dating, I do think for me, it is really important to get a really wise person's opinion on whether they see something toxic or unhealthy in another person that I might be interested in, but I don't want their opinion on anything else. Like, other than that, I don't want anybody to tell me anything. And I only need one person. I don't need the whole family to tell me that this person seems like a good person, because that's too much pressure. I don't want that anymore ever again. Like, I don't, I thought I wanted like everybody to just give me like the head nod, like, okay, because they're like a tough bunch to get through. So if you can get through them, then you must be doing something right. But I don't want that type of pressure. I don't. And so, like, one good, wise person, I think would be good, just so that I know that this person isn't crazy or something, you know? And then I would feel comfortable enough to be like, okay, you know, the rest is my decision. So either they're good or they're not. Not like so much pressure, you know? So, yeah, just to really be intentional. Make sure that your friends are not toxic. Like, every time they call, if it's nothing but toxicity and you feel like bad about your situation because of them or something else, then you're probably going to need to distance yourself or get another friend. And when I say that, I don't mean just cut everybody off, because like, you could set boundaries, and then if the person doesn't respect your boundaries, then you can make that decision. I'm not just saying you just left and right cutting people off just because, and they don't know what's going on. Because yesterday you was talking about everybody, and today all of a sudden you don't want to talk about nothing. Like, you got to give people that you really care about a real heads up. Like, don't just do that. And when it comes to family, sometimes they're just gonna be family. They're gonna do what they want to do, but you have to choose what's best for you. If one of your family members is toxic, you have to remove yourself from that. You can't allow that to be a part of your life, because especially if you're planning on succeeding and becoming this like super successful person, you're not going to be able to do that if your vision's always blocked by all these negative thoughts and toxicity. You're going to really need to be able to focus so that you can grow your business, so that you can become a better person, so that your relationship will thrive. It's not going to be able to thrive and with all of that toxicity around it. So when you are in your life, think about what makes each area of your life healthy. What do you have to do to get rid of the toxins in your life, the toxicity that surrounds you, or that is near you, or whatever that is? That's probably exactly what you need to do. And for me, my goal is to make sure that I'm intentional in my life, that I have nothing but healthy people surrounding me, because when I do get with someone and we end up in a relationship or something else down the road, I want to make sure that I don't have anybody surrounding us that's going to make the foundation crumble, or make me like think all of these insane thoughts like, oh, guys are nothing but trouble. I don't need to hear all of that. Like, no, your guy is nothing but trouble. Don't be putting that in my relationship. We don't talk like that over here. Like, and then, like, you know how some women or whatever would be like, you got that one friend. I don't have a friend like this, but you got that one friend, like, all men are blah, and it's like, your man is blah. Like, don't be talking about like the guy that I'm about to meet, because we're not doing that over here. Like, mm-mm. I'm not speaking nothing bad on the guy that is may end up with me. I want to make sure that I am being healthy, that the people around me know that they have to respect any relationship that I'm in. And I don't mean that they need to like be kissing somebody's behind or something like that. I just mean I don't want any person to feel like they even have the right to say something like that. Now, if there's like some kind of life-threatening thing, or they really have a bad vibe from this person, of course I want to hear that. I don't want them to just like not say anything and then I end up gone. I want to make sure that I'm safe, you know but I also want to make sure that they know that, hey, we just don't discuss my relationship at all. I mean, unless you really feel like I'm in real danger, don't say nothing, you know, or unless you feel like I'm going to end up on one of those shows with the puppet master or something, then don't say nothing. You know, like, I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be safe and I want to be healthy. I don't want to have everybody's opinion in my head while I'm trying to make decisions or while we are discussing things. I don't want it to be everybody's business. I just want it to be my business, you know. And the first moment that you open the door to that, people feel like they have a right to your relationship. And I don't want that to be a thing, you know. And so I just want to be intentional. I want to make sure that I'm focused on God, that I am serving, being obedient, that I'm listening to God, not just hearing his voice, but really listening to his instructions so that I can do the things that I need to do for my life. I need to make sure that I'm healthy. Just like I want everybody else around me to be healthy, I need to constantly keep speaking life into myself and others. I need to constantly make sure that I'm not the person that's calling people with a whole bunch of drama or just talking about things that don't really matter. I need to make sure that every moment of my life is intentional. The people that I'm talking to, I'm having an intentional conversation with. We are speaking life into one another. We're not just trying to talk about nothing but negative things. We're not just bringing each other down or trying to tell a joke at their expense. We are really trying to see each other succeed. And I cannot expect someone else to come into my life as a new friend or as a potential person to be healthy, to not be toxic if I'm not healthy, if I'm not toxic, you know, or if the people around me aren't. Because if any person around me or if there's people surrounding me that are toxic, it's going to break all of the relationships because it's contagious. That negativity is contagious. And when you start to look at things like that, it really does start to make you super sad because you start to not appreciate your life. You don't appreciate the things that you have or the people that you have or the places that you get to go. In order for you to be grateful, you are really going to have to get yourself together and be real intentional about your life. Like intentional about your sleeping habits, intentional about the people that you surround yourself with, intentional about if you want to be a better worker, then take some classes and learn some things. If you want to be a better person in general, do some self-help stuff like see a counselor, see a life coach, make sure that you're reading books or memoirs and things about self-development or intelligence. What is it? IQ 2.0 or something like that is a pretty decent book, and Atomic Habits, whatever it is that you can do to just grow and expand your horizon and be well-rounded is something that you would need to be intentional with your in your life. If you want to be in a relationship, you're going to have to be all of those things you want in a relationship. Don't ask for somebody. I have to laugh at myself because I feel like every person does this. We always have an idea of what it is that we want, and we're not even that. Like, I have women that are like friends with me, and they'll say, "Oh, yeah, girl, you know, I like a guy with a six pack that's like, you know, he looks like blah, blah, blah." And then meanwhile, they don't have a six pack. And I'm like, okay, girl, you know. Like I get it. People say that that's attractive and stuff, and I'm not saying anything's wrong with it or is right with it or whatever else. I'm just saying that we really have to be realistic with ourselves and really think of what it is that we want. And we have to be that thing that we're looking for. If we want to be the type of person who is willing to have a conversation with someone that can communicate well, we're going to have to learn how to communicate well. We can't just expect someone to come in and we are a horrible communicator because that's not going to work. We can't just we can't just expect somebody to come in and be healthy and we're not healthy because it's no point in you being with somebody if you're toxic, you know. So really get serious about your life. Like it's serious. It's a battleground. You have to be prepared in every single area, especially your weak areas. And you can't for a second take your eye off of God, because the second you do, it leaves a foothold for the enemy. And you don't ever want to allow any place of your life to be vulnerable for attack. That's why you have to stay geared up. You have to stay, I was going to say strapped up, but you have to stay, you have to make sure you got your full armor because you can't allow the, and you being intentional about your relationship with him will help you see others in a different way, because you'll want to love like God loves. You'll want to be kind like God intended you to. You'll want to be understanding and compassionate, and a person that doesn't keep records of wrongs or isn't boastful or envious. You would want to make sure that you are compassionate and understanding, but also have standards, just like Jesus did, because he flipped over them tables. You want to make sure that you are really taking your life serious, because if you're not taking it serious, why would anybody else?